How do we deal with the Islamists who live in the West, who try to take over the West, slowly but surely? In today's video, we'll be discussing exactly that, with a video in a synagogue. It's a person asking that question. Let's see the answer.
There are no doubt many Muslims in the West living legally in the countries in which they reside, following the laws, but nevertheless devoted to the overthrow of Western values. How do we deal with that? I have seen discussions that they quietly feel they will win the demographic battle, and then legally, democratically proceed to take over the West. How should we think about that?
Well, first of all, that's happening because you have to go to certain neighborhoods in places like Sweden, France, parts of Germany, Italy, to see that this sort of replacement has occurred. And if you go to these places, there is an informal law, a parallel society. So how do we deal with it? That's the big head scratcher. I am a classical liberal. I do not believe in forcing people, rounding people up and forcing them out of the country. In many cases, even that's impossible because they are citizens who are born in these countries and raised in these countries. So I think the only options that we are left with are the options of developing a counter-narrative and a counter-propaganda and being just as active as they are, with the hope and the optimism that our ideas are in many ways more attractive than what people are hearing in the mosques today in France or in England or in New York and Michigan. And we're not doing that. And we're not doing it, and here's where this whole multiculturalism thing comes along. Today, to go forward and say, we're going to have Western civilization taught uniformly on all K to 12, regardless of where you come from, you're going to go through Western civilization, or you're going to go through the history of the Holocaust. To do that, you're going to face opposition from the woke people who are saying you are imposing your white supremacist ideas on these ethnic groups. That's also a fight we have to fight, but that is the nature of multiculturalism.
We have to release content and more content and more content and let people be aware of what's happening in the West. There's a principle in Islam called hijra, which pretty much comes from the Quran. Muhammad, who migrated from Mecca because nobody would accept his ideas, he migrated from Mecca to Medina, and only once Islam became violent, Islam started spreading. In Medina, that's the hijra or immigration, he developed schools and mosques, and he provided an infrastructure that works for the Muslims. The same thing applies in the UK. People migrate to the UK and to France and to Italy and to Canada when there is already something developed there for them to be Muslim. And then slowly but surely, by 2060, they're going to be the majority. And Sharia law is going to be imposed, because how can you say no to Sharia law when they're the majority? They're going to vote for it. This is what people need to know about.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you for being so brave and speaking the truth. I hope you can influence many young Muslim ladies. In your opinion, why is Gaza so isolated in the Muslim world? I see them.
He looks like the Jewish version of Billy Ray Cyrus from Hannah Montana. Am I wrong?
Protesting all over the world. I haven't seen one soldier come from Indonesia to help them. That's my first question, why they're so isolated. The second one, in your opinion, why the Israeli Arabs, the citizens of Israel, are so quiet and not willing to fight, not to help Gaza? Could you answer those two questions, please?
I cannot answer the second one. I can't even attempt to answer that second one. On the first one, why are so many, there are 1.5 billion Muslims in the world, why are they
1.8
not volunteering to go and fight in Gaza? I think that if you look into Islamist literature, what you're going to find is that the inhabitants of Gaza are seen not as human beings, and this is again where embracing death comes into the narrative. They are martyrs. They are considered to be the lucky ones who are, to be killed by the Jews, you go straight to paradise. It's the people of Gaza who have been, you are a baby born in Gaza, and the likelihood of being indoctrinated with the idea that you're going to die killing Jews, that is your fate. You have to ask the question, why is it that Egypt, if Egypt were given a lot of money, the Israeli government is saying, evacuate, get the people of Gaza out. In terms of money, I think we can afford to, the countries that support the mission to destroy Hamas, they can put the money down. All that Egypt has to do is to say, we're going to help evacuate the residents of Gaza, let Hamas be cleared out, and then we can start talking about what to do about that. But the government of Egypt is not going to do that because, as the president of Egypt said, that would kill the Palestinian dream. And what is the Palestinian dream? It's from the river to the sea. So no one really wants to do it. I mean, it's all very political, and some of the Arab leaders, they want Israel to quietly get rid of Hamas. But I don't think that they're able to face up to the Muslim Brotherhood and radical Islamists on their own soil. I think that if the president of Egypt today were to say what he really thinks, he would not be president.
For the second question that she couldn't answer, I'd like to provide an answer. It's because they live a good life in Israel. So why would they interfere? Why would they fight with them if they have the same rights? They can vote, get elected, become prime ministers if they get voted. That's why. The Arabs in Israel don't live under apartheid. They live under a system which gives them exactly the same rights, and that's why they don't fight. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support me financially, you can do so through Buy Me Coffee or Patreon. It's down in the links below. It helps me buy new gear, equipment, and of course do this for you most of the day. Some parts of the day I actually rest and work. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.